All right, so I travel around a lot early to a lot of different states and try to get some hunting done. Just seems like here in Missouri, it's just tough hunting. We have crops in. A lot of our deer live in the crops that time of the year. Acorns are dropping, so if they are eating acorns, they're usually laying under the tree. You just can't get on them. So this last year, we came back around October 12th, I believe, and I talked to Robbie. Robbie had been running some cameras, and he pulled the card on the specific farm where this buck was that I knew I wanted to take. He was an old deer, probably scoring in the 50s, and not real wide, but just a nice deer. And Robbie had pictures of him, said he daylighted a couple times, and we knew we had a really big cold front, like a 35-degree cold front coming in 2 days. So we kind of set everything up to go hunt that deer on that day, and it would be my first set in Missouri. We were excited to get there, and it's always nice when you're wearing your winter gear in mid-October.
We're in central Missouri. It's October 14th or 15th, I think 15th. So we had a cold front come through yesterday. It's about 37 degrees, so we're hunting a little bit earlier. I usually don't like to hunt this early in October, especially mornings, but we've been seeing some pretty decent activity. And the cold temps kind of had these bucks kind of feeling it, so we had some deer out in the field towards the truck, but haven't seen a buck yet, so we'll see what happens. Alright, well, it's October 15th. We hunted this morning, saw quite a few deer, but this is a spot where Robbie killed 160-inch deer last year, like November 5th or something like that. But just kind of a big bedding area. We're up on the bluff, and they just kind of walk this bottom edge of it. There's some scrapes or scrape over my shoulder, and a couple other big scrapes we've had a covert on for the last couple weeks, and got a buck in here that's daylighted probably 3 or 4 times. That he's not a real giant, but he's an old deer. He's 5, and we followed him all the way through growth this year on the other side of the farm, and he moved over here when he went hardhorn. So we're gonna see if he showed up. His name's Dirty. Hopefully we can kill him.
So we get to the tree about 3 o'clock. We knew from the trail cameras that he'd been moving around 5:30, and just got in, got settled down, and just kind of waited for the deer movement to start. So as we're sitting there, I noticed there's 2 does kind of working through the bottom up towards the bluff that we're sitting on, and they got about, I'd say 150 yards away, and they got nervous, and they turned around and ran back into the timber. We were kind of wondering what's going on, kind of shaking our heads, but I took advantage of the commotion, picked up my grunt call, and just started doing some short grunts, some chasing grunts, just so if that buck was in the area, we knew that maybe he would think there was a little buck just chasing does up there. Well, it didn't take long, and all of a sudden I noticed movement off to my left. As I lean around the tree trunk in front of me, I noticed that it's the buck we're in there after. So as he's coming closer, we're kind of getting prepared for the shot, thinking he's just going to take this trail and walk right by us. Lo and behold, he stops at 14 yards behind the cover of a tree and starts raking this giant tree and kind of showing some dominance. So after I've watched this buck rub this tree for probably a good minute and a half, he finally walks away from the rub and starts coming down right in front of us at 14.
Meh. I don't know if they got through there.
Once we got back to the truck, started looking at the footage, and we noticed that, you know, the shot placement was good, but there was just no penetration at all. And I was really worried that I didn't get through that front shoulder blade. So we gave him time, left him for about 6.5 hours. We figured that would give him enough time. If we did get through the shoulder, he would be dead for sure. If we didn't, then he would live. So for the next day and a half, we literally grid searched the entire north part of that farm. I had looked through a giant bean field, walked through every ditch that was there, never found any more blood, never found the deer, and just really were scratching our heads thinking, man, we don't know, don't know what happened, don't know where he is. So we put the cameras back out. We got them rolling, kind of put a couple more in that area just to see if we could get a picture. And lo and behold, at noon, the day that I was actually in the farm looking for him, that next day, he walks by one of our covert cameras. So ultimately, the situation was unfortunate, but it does, I guess, have a happy ending. I'm glad that he made it. I'm excited to see what he is this year. I don't know what this wound's going to do to him, but he's definitely up and kicking. So we're going to have the cameras out for the ghost season, and hopefully he does something special.
It is November 9th. Tonight is the last night before Missouri's rifle season. So we are trying to get it done. We've seen a lot of bucks. We just got in here about noon. We waited till the wind got strong. You have to have a strong wind for this spot. I filmed Jamie kill a buck out of here. Gosh, I think it was 3 or 4 days ago. But this spot's just a hammer for the rut. Big, like 8 acres of CRP up above us. We're on a big oak ridge, and these bucks just travel the crap out of it. So we got in here and got set up, and we had a little 6-pointer come run the doe just super hard, running all the way by us and out of here. So she's hot. She's mouth open. She's got to be close. So we're just gonna sit it out. Hopefully we can get something killed. See what comes by. Maybe something big enough.
So it's always hard to get back in the tree after you have a situation like that happen, but we did it, and we got back in the tree, hunted all through the rut. We just grinded it out, had tons of encounters, but just couldn't seem to get anything killed in front of us. So we go all the way through the rut, all the way through post-rut, and we're all the way into December now. And now the game's changed. We have got really, really cold temperatures, and everything's about food. All right, well, it's December 4th, and we're gonna go into a ground blind. We've got an Osage plot. Just go up the cedar ditch and get up in here. Got a little sunshine right now, but it's gonna get overcast. Supposed to even maybe snow a little bit this afternoon, so we're just gonna get in here early. It's about 11 o'clock now, and see if we can get something killed in here today. So we noticed after running some cameras and doing some scouting that our turnip plots were getting smashed. We had put a pop-up blind on one particular farm just for the hopes that the winter weather would come and put these deer on their feet in the daylight on the food plots. as it usually does, does started out first, and man, they were out in the field eating turnips. We had some really cool footage of some does chomping on turnips and eating them whole, and that was pretty cool to see. But we knew as it started to get darker that our bucks would start showing up. So as the evening kind of progressed, we didn't have really any shooters out there, and I was already ready to go back home. I was getting cold and it was getting dark, and all of a sudden I look up and this buck steps out. He's at 45 yards, comes right out of the timber. So initially when this buck comes out, I'm ranging him, and he comes right into about 40. And I go ahead and draw my bow, get ready to shoot him, and lo and behold, there's one yearling doe out there, and she gets directly in between me and him and just stands there and eats and eats and eats. So I'm holding it and I'm holding it, and finally I just tell Austin, I'm like, I gotta let this thing down. So I let the Matthews down and just kind of set back and wait for her to clear. So it takes her a little bit. She finally gets out of the way. So again, tell Austin, are you on him? He says yes. Draw my bow again. Finally, he gets to where he turns and can provide a broadside shot for me. Ask Austin if he's got him. He says yep, and we let the arrow go.
He zipped. He zipped. No, we went back and forth. We gave him some time. Gosh, we gave him what? John came down from Haynesville, so probably a good 45 minutes to an hour. And then we watched the video back, and on video, he ducked so hard that it looked like it's a really high hole. And it is a high hole, but we thought we got lung for sure. Got back, licked the arrow. Arrow didn't look great, so I kind of waited for John to get here. And then we just decided, hey, we're gonna try him. If he goes more than 100 yards, we're gonna back out. And he didn't go, what, probably 80 maybe 100 total off the thing. So super cool deer though. This is what we came in here to do. Got pictures of this dude last week down low, and just an old mature 8-pointer, and that's what this farm's notorious for, just having old 8s on it. And he was one we wanted to get out of here. A great deer to kill, and man, it gets the monkey off my back. I've had a heck of a time in Missouri getting them deer killed with my bow, but super glad, super proud of this dude for sure. So we got some work to do to get him up. He's not too far off the field, I guess, but we'll get him up and get him out of here and get a tag on him, and now the work begins.
So ultimately, it was a season of ups and downs like they usually are. To have an encounter with 2 great bucks in 1 year is a blessing, no matter the outcome. But ultimately, we came out of it with some lessons learned and a good deer to go on the wall.